Welcome to the AtlasIED launch event. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm from AVNation. Very honored to be here. Very honored to have the opportunity to help AtlasIED launch this new journey, this new product line that they're talking about today. This is the culmination of thousands of man hours, hundreds of employees, and a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears over the last couple of years. After the event, we're going to have a press conference, and you can sign up for a live demo the 29th, 30th, and 31st of July. You can do that by going to bit.ly/lift_off_2020. To help me introduce this brand new product line for AtlasIED is AtlasIED President John Ivey. John, welcome.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm well, sir. I'm well. Thanks so much. So much for having us. So help me wrap my head around this. How did this whole thing start?
So this started because our company, AtlasIED, continues to grow. We've been growing in sales, and our product line has grown over the years. So we launched Project Apollo a few years ago to help tie everything together so we can provide solutions.
All right. Solutions is a very important word there. So in 4 or 5 years, what do you want integrators, what do you want dealers to think of when they think of AtlasIED?
I want them to think that AtlasIED is a full solution provider. So Atlas acquired IED back in 2007, and this gave us all the tools we needed to provide a complete solution to our customers. In that case, mass transportation, mostly airports and subway stations, things like that. But we had everything from the rack all the way out to the ceiling speakers and everything in between, the amplifiers, DSP, mic stations. All of it's been engineered together to provide a full solution to the end user, and once you lay our written software over that, it provides a really good solution. Everything's made and engineered to work together.
How does this new project help you get there? How do you get them to think of that?
So Project Apollo was our moonshot. It was taking the idea of providing a full solution, products that have been engineered to all work together that we've been doing for airports and bringing it to the rest of the installation base.
All right, John, before we move on, is there anything else you want us to know about this new project?
Yeah, so Project Apollo is about to launch. This has taken years for us to develop. We built everything from the ground up, the hardware, the software, the firmware. In fact, it's probably easiest if I just come out there and show you.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Ivey in the flesh. How are you, sir?
I'm doing really good.
Good. You look good. We're social distancing, so staying safe. So you were saying about this new product line.
We're really excited about this product launch, and my team has spent the last 2 weeks putting together an amazing video.
All right, very good. So we're going to play it now?
Let's play it.
All right. So, Atmosphere.
Atmosphere, it's launched.
All right, Atmosphere's launched is what we're calling this new product line. So let's kind of go through the line and tell me about the entire family of Atmosphere.
So there's no way that I'd be able to tell you all about Atmosphere in the time allotted or without going off script. Anyone that knows me knows I tend to do that quite a bit. So I brought along a helper.
Okay.
Michael?
Oh, very good.
Hey.
How are you, sir?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am well. Michael Peveler, Vice President of Sales for AtlasIED, up from Texas. So, you tell us about Atmosphere then.
Absolutely. So first, I want to make sure I thank all of our AtlasIED channel partners that are here watching today. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate your loyalty and support and the growth and opportunities you've given us. We think you're going to love what you see today, and you're going to see great opportunities going forward. If you're not an AtlasIED channel partner, well, welcome. We have been a company that's been very fortunate to continue to prosper and grow through our recent challenges, and we'd love to have you be a part of that growth. So if you're interested, after you get a chance to see Atmosphere today and learn about it, make sure you attend an audio demo room session and then get in touch with our team. We'd love to get you signed up. I'm humbled to be here and represent all of the AtlasIED employees, but in particular, I want to acknowledge the Atmosphere team. This group has spent over 480 man-months in development of this platform. They've done over 700 prototypes and over 1,400 regression tests to build a world-class product. They've also spent a lot of money, but since John's right over there, I'm not going to talk about that too much. With that said, please understand that everything you're going to see today was done with intent and purpose. There's no afterthought. We built a platform. We aren't throwing features in because somebody else did. We're doing it because it's the right thing to grow our platform. And as a result, not only is what you're going to see today a powerful solution, but what you're going to see in years to come from AtlasIED will continue to be fantastic and cutting edge. We built Atmosphere with an understanding that AV end users today expect a reliable and predictable experience with their product and their AV investment. And it's our job as a manufacturer to ensure that we build a product that both gives them the features they need and is easy for you to use as a channel partner, so you can get in and out of a job quickly, make the money you need, put it towards your bottom line, and continue to grow your business. In short, it was our job to build an easy-to-use product that had all the features your customers demanded and was easy enough for you to be able to use effectively and efficiently so you can grow. So with that said, let's meet Atmosphere. So Atmosphere starts with our central processors. We've got two units that we're going to introduce today, the AZM4 and the AZM8. Now, the only difference between these two units is that the AZM4 is a 4-zone and the AZM is 8. Otherwise, they both have the same power and functionality. So you're not compromising if you go to the smaller unit for any reason. There's a number of things we can talk about. You can see quite a bit on the front panel, but I want to focus on 3 features that I think make this product very unique. The rest will be hit again in the audio demo room. So number 1, both of these units have built-in Wi-Fi. That means you can commission a job without any additional hardware or software. No longer are you stuck waiting for another vendor to come in and get the network up and running for you to be able to finish your system configuration. Number 2, both units can support up to 16 accessories. Now, we'll be introducing 6 accessories today, but both units allow and support up to 16 units. And again, we'll talk about more of those in just a minute. And then the last thing I want to talk about on the back of the box is what we call a high priority input. The high priority input allows any other device or another device to take control of the Atmosphere system. Now, you may be wondering, why would we do that? Atmosphere is like a traditional DSP. It can be its own ecosystem. However, more often than not, our system is sold as part of a larger infrastructure. AV is being required to be part of that larger infrastructure. So quite often, we're part of a fire alarm or building control solution. And so it was our job as a manufacturer to make the integration of those two systems simple, and we've done that through the high priority input. Now, let's move over to the amplifiers. We've got 2 amplifiers we're introducing today. The AZA 404, which is a 4x100 watt amplifier, power amplifier, and an AZA 804, which is a 4x200 watt power amplifier. Now, as you can see, these are designed to work together and look together and present a common design, and we're really, really proud of that. But for the record, if you're doing a retrofit and you're using any of our other 80 amplifiers, it's going to work with those as well. Now, let's move to the accessories. I told you I'd come back and talk about that. We're super excited because we've got 6 great accessories we're going to introduce. But there's a couple of features that cover all 6 that I want to get into before we get into the specifics. So the first thing I want you to know is that all of our accessories are plug-and-play, intelligent, and auto-discoverable. That means once you connect an accessory to the AZM, it auto-discovers what it is. So you don't have to go back in the software and configure or make any additional changes. right? The second thing we want you to know is that we can effectively communicate all data and audio up to 1,000 feet per port. That's industry leading, and we're really, really proud of that. The last thing we want you to understand about all of our accessories is that they are built from the ground up. These are not just cheap wall plates. They are designed well, and they're meant to look good and be powerful in your customer's environment. So let's get into the details of the different accessories. We're going to start with our controllers. We've got two different controllers we're introducing today. The first is the CV. That is a single input, single zone controller that allows control of level, meter, and mute state, all with a single touch. And you can see you've got the light ring on top so you can see your state. Again, a single zone, not source, single zone controller. You see it looks nice and clean, great for that kind of simple installation or environment. Next, we've got the CZSV, that's zone, source, and volume controller. And that's intended to be a multi-zone controller. Now, this intuitive interface is designed to control the entire AZM installation. It gives you the ability to switch sources, change volume, as well as recall scenes and messages. And then another feature that I think is really cool is it has a light and dark state available. So if your customer has an environment like a dining area, where as the evening goes along, it gets darker, at a preset time, the CZVS or ZSV can change to be a dark state and not a glaring light off the side of the wall. So we're really proud of that. In addition, the unit can be locked with a unique pin so that it can't accidentally be bumped and have a change in zone. So let's move to the audio accessories. We've got three options here. We've got the RCA/3.5 millimeter accessory, and we also have the XLR. Now, I want to talk about these two together because they both share a common feature. Once they're discovered by the AZM, they actually, the AZM dynamically assigns all the appropriate audio attributes to those accessories. So essentially, you get the exact same experience as if you were plugging directly into the back of the AZM. Pretty cool. We also have a Bluetooth accessory. Now, the Bluetooth accessory can be placed wherever you want to place it for optimum network coverage. It's got a pairing indicator on the front of the AZM. There's also a local pair and unpair button on the Bluetooth accessory itself. It's got NFC for auto pairing if you use an Android device. And it can also be renamed as any location or user's device if you need to in the user interface. The last accessory that we're going to introduce today is our ambient noise sensor. Now, this one is extremely cool. We're very, very proud of this. And there's a couple of things I want to point out about it. First of all, it's not a microphone. It's an ambient noise sensor. So we're not actually recording any conversations. We're not picking up any conversations and transporting them over the network. That keeps it secure. What we're actually doing is using a filter that is a proprietary filter that's actually patent pending, one of those features we're very proud of, so that we can separate the data or the noise in the environment from the audio coming out of the atmosphere solution. And then we take that data back to the AZM where we can process it. Now, a lot of people think ambient noise sensing is kind of black magic, but our team, Brandon Graham and the Atmosphere team, decided that they wanted to make it really easy. So what we did is in our ambient noise compensation, we created what's called auto mode. And you're going to see this in the software in just a second, but it ties to the ambient noise sensor, so I need to talk about them at the same time. See, ambient noise sensor usually, or ambient noise development usually takes a lot of time and a lot of energy on an installation site. With our solution, you simply plug the ambient noise sensor into the wall, then you go into the software and you turn on what we call auto mode. Once that's done, our system will begin to learn based on the changes that the end user makes in the system. So as an example, if the crowd is bigger, they turn the volume up. Our system will analyze the data and then start making those changes for them when the data looks the same. When the crowd is smaller, they turn the volume down. It learns that. So basically, the more the end user uses the system, the less they ever have to make changes. It's smart and it learns, much like your thermostat at home. So let's move over to the back of the box really quick. Let's look, you see that it's easy to daisy chain these. Standard category cable, 5E and up, any is acceptable, and you can see that we can chain that together daisy chain that together into one solution. So again, just highlights real fast. You see on the screen, 8 accessories per port, 16 accessories per unit, and 1,000 feet per port. Powerful, powerful hardware. Now, let's move to the software. So our goal with the software was not to go build a big app that you had to download that had to consume a lot of your space and was constantly going through updates and revision changes. Instead, we used a progressive web app. So you can use any device and any operating system to come in and connect to the system where you'll then find the user interface. Our goal with the whole design of the user interface was to make it simple, plain and simple. We want you to be able to learn how to use this system without spending hours and hours in training. We want you to be able to use this system without always having to run into support. In fact, we've automated a lot of things to ultimately make it easier. And one last feature before we get into the specifics of the software. If you look, we've actually got a light and a dark mode. So if you're one of those programmers currently watching in a very dark space, well, you've got a dark mode with the user interface you can work from as well. Now, let's get into the specifics of the software. We're going to start with the dashboard. Now, you can see this is very clean, highly intuitive. You can see your status of all your zones. You can see any upcoming events that are scheduled. And you can also see faults if you happen to have any. And as you can see, there's no faults detected. We're excited about that today. It's a good day. At the top, you'll see a number of tabs. Now, we don't have time to cover all the tabs in this session. Again, we'll do that in the audio demo room, but we're going to hit some highlights. I do want to say as a matter of course that when it comes to inputs and outputs, we have full audio processing. So you can customize this to your heart's desire. That said, again, remember our job and our goal when we built this was to make it simple. We want to make it easy for you to get in and out of jobs quick. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to tell a little story. This is a story about little Tom. Little Tom's been on an installation team for a while working with his dealership, but now he's going to go out and lead a team, and they're going to do an atmosphere job. He selects his AtlasIED speakers, goes out, gets those physically installed, and then he goes and opens up his browser, connects to the atmosphere device, and now he's going to go to the output page. On the output page in the lower right-hand side, you will see a speaker preset. And you can see there's a drop-down menu right there. You see it says SM42T. Now, there you can actually drop down and find all of the AtlasIED speakers already loaded. Now, the beauty is, once little Tom picks the speaker, the AZM will optimize the performance of those speakers. So Tom already has the system sounding 70, 80%, right? It's already mostly where he needs it to be, but now he's got to adjust to the actual environment. So he goes over to the EQ tab. On the EQ tab, you see I've got a full board. I can get into high customization, but on the right-hand side, we have this cool feature we developed called Tilter Filter. So what can you do with the Tilter Filter? Well, by using that single slider, you can adjust up and down, and you can move your entire equalization. And so that 20% adjustment to the actual environment, once we've optimized the speakers, gets you across the goal line. Now, little Tom's got one more thing to do. He goes over to the ANC tab, and here's the auto mode I told you about. So once that ANC is picked, the system, the AZM, will begin to learn based on the end user's behavior. And eventually, the more they use the system, the less they'll ever have to adjust it. It sounds great. We've optimized the performance of the speakers. We've got an easy tool to adjust the system to get that fine tuning done. And then we can ensure it's going to sound great for the customer as they move forward. I think we've made it pretty simple. Again, full processing for audio and input and output, so you can customize to your heart's desire, but this is easy enough that a novice installer can go out and do a high quality job meeting your customer's expectations. Now, we've got two other things I want to hit, and then I'm going to quit talking. So the two things that we're going to talk about are both applications. They're not just features. And we think in this time, they're really important because we think they fit the need of our end customers and what we've been hearing customers or from customers about since March. So if we move over to the Messages tab, you will see that Atmosphere has a fully functional message player built into the system. No additional hardware necessary, it's already there. Now, why do we need a message player? we've been surrounded with messages for years, right? Walk into a store, you hear an announcement, you hear a page. We've been hearing the white zone is for loading and unloading forever, or at least since the movie Airplane. And now we walk into a store and we get a message about social distancing. We get a message about thanking you for coming in. We get very specific directions. Our end customers are trying to safely open their businesses. And it's our job as audio video professionals to provide them with a solution that allows them to get their business back up and running. And so we built in a message player to allow them to have that functionality. So how does this work? First of all, you got a gig of storage built into the AZM for your messages. And we've got hundreds of messages on the AtlasIED website that you can download, including COVID-specific messages if your customer needs to have those with reminders of social distancing, et cetera, et cetera. Now, how do these get triggered? Well, there's multiple ways they can be scheduled. We've got a great scheduling app. You can see that on the tab on the top, right? We've got a great scheduling app. You could have it triggered from a GPIO. So when someone walks through a door, you get an auto announcement. If someone presses a button on the wall requesting help, they get an announcement that an attendee's on the way. There's any number of triggers that are available through the GPIO. In addition, you can walk over to the wall controller and press a button there. Remember, we talked about recalling messages. You can recall a message if you need to. Last call for alcohol, right there. There's the button, right? You've got a number of options there that you can use to trigger it. You can actually even trigger it from the front of the AZM itself or from the software. So a number of applications. Now, I'm making light of it because it's a very tough subject, but the reality is today's customers' needs are very different than what they used to be. And it's our responsibility, again, to play a part as part of the AV industry and helping get our partners and our industry back up and running to the level that we expect to be. And we believe the message player is an application that fits every vertical market, every customer, and every application. Healthcare, hospitals, retail, transportation, you name it. This is an application that you can go sell and help get your business back up and running if you're working to solve your customers' problems. Now, everybody wants more, so I got one more feature. One more feature that I think is really important. If we move over to the Accessories tab, you'll see that there's a QR code there. All right, everybody's got QR codes, I get it, right? Everybody gets a QR code, you scan it, you get an app that you download and blah, blah, blah. Nope, not here. We've made it simple, and this is a separate patent pending. Now that's 3 for those of you keeping count at home. So what can we do through the QR code? First of all, we have the ability to create custom QR codes. So we can do one for one zone only. We can do one that has limited access to control, or we could do a whole full one. We can actually print them directly from the user interface. You can see it on the screen in front of you. And I can do as many of these as I want. We've got a little thing called a gem. It's a wall mount that you can print this, post it up, and put it on the wall so that you can have it easily accessible. Now, what's the benefit of what you do with this? Well, once you walk up and scan this with any device, any operating system, you get a fully loaded virtual wall controller. No app to download, no additional firmware updates to do, no adjustments. You get a fully functional controller with a simple scan, and then you can take control of the system. Patent pending feature, right? And it works with everything, all operating systems. In our COVID world today, and in the struggles we're dealing with, this is a fantastic application because people want to be able to have a personal user interface and not be dependent upon shared environments. So we think the message player and the virtual wall controllers are things that solve your customer problems today, and we think Atmosphere can be part of the solution. So I'm going to wrap up mine. There's so much more we can talk about. You're going to want to make sure you hit one of the audio demo room sessions, either today after this session or over the course of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tim's going to tell you more about that. We could not be more proud of Atmosphere. We think it's going to make a huge difference to our industry. We know it's going to make a huge difference to our partners. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Very, very, very well done. So as Michael said, there's 3 more days of audio demo rooms. Tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. You can sign up for that at AtlasIED.com, AtlasIED.com. In addition to that, if you just want to hang loose, we're going to take questions, or they're going to take questions from members of the press. I'm going to stand here and look pretty, kind of hard. So with that said, thank you both, gentlemen. Thank you guys
Absolutely.
for
Absolutely. Thank you.
letting us help you launch this exciting new kind of venue.
We're excited, man.
Absolutely.
Very excited.
So Gina and Lisa and Katie Bennett, why don't do we have questions from anybody from the audience? Gina?
You did such a good job, no one has a question.
You did.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
While we're waiting for questions,
Yes.
there's some things I thought of while Michael was doing an excellent presentation.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you.
would have taken me 2 hours to get through, and I probably
What-
want to go.
One thing real quickly, because I forgot this, and I think I screwed this up, but ANS, auto.
I talked about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's typically like really hard to do.
Yeah, again, Brandon Graham and the Atmosphere team got their arms around it and said, look, we're going to take something that's very complicated and we're going to find a way to make it really simple. And so with the patent pending proprietary filter that we're using, we were able to just get data, and that cleared the way to be able to then create a learning device. And obviously we see that with our thermostats and other devices in our homes today. So applying that into the AV space made a lot of sense because it was one of the dynamically changing challenges that an end user had that our channel was constantly trying to fight.
But
Right?
I think it's important to point out that it's not audio going back.
Right.
Right.
So AtlasIED actually did this many years ago and owns a patent on us as well for airports.
Yeah.
High security environment, you can't be transmitting audio. So when the discussion was, okay, how are we going to do this with Atmosphere? They improved upon the concept.
Yeah, and one point as well, the other benefit, and I didn't mention this, is that you don't use an audio port on the back of the AZM either, right? It's just coming in over your standard category cable back into the AZM. So you're not using up something that you might need for another application. And at 1,000 feet, we can support installations that go both directions and spoked installations as well. So we've got a lot of flexibility in the system that we have today.
Very cool. Talk about that 1,000-foot run, because I know enough about audio to be dangerous, but you put any sort of either balanced or unbalanced 1,000 feet, you're going to incur some amount of noise, some amount of interference. How are you guys able to do that, or can you not tell me because it's patent
I'll
pending?
defer to John on that.
I'll defer to Tom on that. Where's Tom? We did it. In fact,
You did it.
I had the same question, and I went up to our Elkhart office. This was, majority was engineered in Elkhart and Salt Lake. And Tom had a whole bunch of boxes of wire out front because I was a little skeptical. He said, let's go for a walk, John. And we walked all the way down to the end of the driveway where he had his iPad playing music, and it was playing back in the offices over 1,000 feet of cable away.
Okay.
And it answered my question. And also the neat thing about the way the wall controller is connected is you can have 6 of them on the first 5 feet, and then the last 2, 1,000 feet or 995 feet away, right? Ring and spoke, so you can have, first 100 feet out to a single wall controller, and then it spoke out from there. Okay. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So Katie Bennett's going to take over on the back end and start allowing folks to ask questions. Is that right, Gina? Okay. So we should hear the first question here shortly.
What is the background compatibility to legacy products so owners protect their prior investments?
Oh yeah, so I mean, it can talk to any traditional analog audio sources. This is a new platform. As we talked about, the entire hardware, firmware, software was started from the ground up, took over 2 years of development. But as far as current installations, if you want to upgrade, we can take any of the traditional audio sources that may already be installed. As far as network audio sources, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
We also have a question in from Frank in the audience. Heard you mention fire alarm early. What is your connection to fire alarm systems?
So on the back, there is a high priority page input. Again, drawing from the decades of engineering on the IED side in interfacing with hundreds of fire alarms around the world, we created this high priority trigger. Now, this is not a fire alarm product.
Nope.
This is not listed as a fire alarm product, but it works in conjunction with a traditional fire security system in a very similar way to our IED products at airports, transportation, things like that.
But the high priority audio input is what allows that, right? This
Yes.
is saying this is going to be heard regardless of anything else.
Absolutely.
Yep. Perfect example would be in a restaurant inside of an airport. So you can take that audio input and the trigger and turn off the local audio, that would be an Atmosphere system, and have the other IED broadcasts go through the Atmosphere system in that restaurant.
Okay. All right, Katie.
Beautiful. All right. We have a question from someone you guys may have heard about before. I think his name is Matt Scott. I don't know. I'm not sure if we know this guy or not. Matt Scott, of course, from AVNation and Omega TV. When can we expect the additional accessories to be available?
All of this will be available the beginning of September.
Yeah, so now I heard the question, I guess. By the answer, I know what the question was. Yeah, so we do have some demo units, about a dozen right now, that we're willing to share with people like Matt, friends of ours, and get some feedback on. But beginning of September, widely available.
Is that when they will start shipping or when people can start ordering?
Shipping. We'll take orders today.
Yeah, we'll take orders today.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, so we had a couple of channel or delays with COVID that kept things from moving as fast as we wanted, but that's it. Everything's ready to roll in a month.
Yeah. The original idea was to have inventory, a lot of it in-house, but component lead times now.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
All right, Katie.
Okay, fantastic. Luke Jordan is asking, you might have mentioned this already, but does it support networked audio protocols, and if so, which ones?
So it does not today. There is, again, this is a highly dynamic platform. So there are a lot of questions as we introduce this to our rep firms and to our RSMs about some of the more common audio network protocols. And we can tell you that it's the roadmap allows us to do it, but we're not going to announce a time on that today. So today it's not a Dante product, which is what he's asking.
yeah. Or AVB or a
Right.
couple of
Sure,
AV
sure,
or
sure.
OpenEd
So
or-
this obviously manages audio and data in its own way.
Mhm.
So the question is, what INZs do we want? What should come first? It's a good question.
And I would say this to Luke, this is the kind of customer feedback we're looking to have. And for anybody that's still listening, this is the kind of customer feedback we've got. And I said it in the beginning, we've got a very powerful platform, not just a series of products. If John had just wanted products, we'd have had them a long time ago. This is a platform that we can build and expand on. But a lot of the next steps, while we've got a lot of things roadmapped and we're working on kind of Gen 2 and 3 already, and 4 is in development, for discussion. But if we get feedback from the market that says, hey, there's an absolute application that we see repeatable and there's enough demand for it, then we'll absolutely can look at how that fits into from a priority standpoint. What we need is that kind of customer feedback saying, here's the use case, here's why AVB, Dante, whatever makes most sense. And this is, the kind of things that we think we can do with it. And if we can confirm that with other resellers and other people, then it may make sense to accelerate its development on the platform.
Yeah, the hard work's been done. Building out the platform, even deciding the cosmetics and what color it's going to be. It took a lot. Adding additional SKUs, features, and functionality, and Tom would probably kill me for saying this, isn't as difficult moving forward. And there's already a product roadmap out 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So this is just a very small product offering of what this thing is becoming.
But that actually goes back to what you and I were talking about earlier. What do you want integrators? What do you want dealers? Honestly, what do you want end users to think about AtlasIED in 4 or 5 years? That right there says it.
Yeah, it's a solution, right?
Yeah.
This is a key component of providing an overall solution for an installation.
Yeah. All right.
Excellent, excellent. So a couple more questions. Actually, there are 2 more that coming in from Frank. Going back to the mass notification. His original question, just to remind you guys what he was asking, have heard you mention fire alarm early. What is your connection to fire alarm systems? To which you answered. He followed up saying same thing for mass notification.
So what's the connection to mass notification?
Yeah, so carrying on from his original question, his original question was, heard you mention fire alarm early. What is your connection to fire alarm systems? ?
I think the easiest way to answer the question is that we're an accessory to those systems. Atmosphere is not a life safety system in itself, but we're an accessory to that system. So we have the ability to connect in and be overridden by a system like a mass notification or a fire or alarm system. so that we can be part of that process, but we're not trying to be those systems today. We have other products that do mass notification, and there's compatibility that we can talk about there. And we have a whole range of solutions and literally do millions of dollars in mass notification a year. But right now, Atmosphere is intended to be an accessory that ties onto those systems, so it becomes part of that bigger infrastructure.
Okay.
Which we already sell, so you're welcome to buy those from us as well.
Absolutely,
please.
absolutely.
All right, Katie?
Excellent, excellent. Frank has one final question. Does it include an 8-track player? And he says, just kidding, just kidding. He's an old-time music buff. But he typed questions, so I had to ask it. There you go. Craig McCormick is asking, were the features you've built into the Atmosphere platform based on customer requests and feedback, or included in the hopes that customers would be interested in them when you release the product? Is this about anticipating a customer need or responding to one?
Okay, so Greg's asking, is this directly from customer feedback, or are you creating something that you hope and think customers are demanding?
Well, and I think his question was, and really what he's getting to is, will we change it if people ask for us to? And the answer is absolutely.
Okay.
Again, in-house, complete design, white sheet of paper, started from scratch, hardware, software, firmware, all of these people are still employed with us. In fact, all of our Atlas people are still employed. We haven't laid anyone off or reduced salaries or time or anything. It's been a really good time these last 5 years for us at MyTech, and Atlas is the division, AtlasIED is the division of MyTech, right? So all of these people are itching to make the next 2 or 3 versions of it. The more feedback we get for customers, the more we can create the perfect solution for them.
And I would add on by saying this, the answer, Craig, is really both. We certainly gathered a lot of customer feedback about what they wanted, but in talking to our channel partners, we discovered a lot of challenges they had. And they didn't specifically say, we want you to solve this challenge. They said, here are things that make doing this type of job more expensive, more labor intensive, more whatever. And as a manufacturer, our job is to solve problems for them that they've taken or gotten used to just handling, right? And all manufacturers do that, right? So it's really a combination of both. We certainly took their direct feedback and as we developed the solution, but we also balanced out with there's things we can make easier that they said are difficult that they're just kind of used to doing, like ambient noise compensation. And we said, why does it have to be hard? We can make it easier. So I think the answer is a combination of both, but it is a customer-centric product. So to say, we do a lot of talking with customers, talking with consultants, asking what the market needs, and that, the development of Atmosphere absolutely included that process.
All right, very good. All right, Katie?
Yep, we've got one. Actually, we've got 3 more currently, but everyone listening in, if you've got questions, please get them typed in so we can get them in the queue here. So we're wondering if only Atlas speakers are designed to work within the Atmosphere platform. So again, are only AtlasIED speakers designed to work within the Atmosphere platform?
So are only Atmosphere or are only AtlasIED speakers designed to work with Atmosphere?
So I'm not going to preload other people's speakers unless someone really important needs me to for a certain job.
Okay.
But yeah, we made it really easy. So choose your Atmosphere speaker selector tool, FAP 62 or 63T, and it already pre-optimizes it. Could we do other people's? Yeah. Take more EQing though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our goal is to sell our ecosystem, right? Yeah. That's our whole intent as a manufacturer, as John said, in the questions at the beginning, it is racks to endpoints, right? And we want to be able to fulfill all of the needs in between. So clearly we want to be able to sell our speakers, but could you plug another speaker into the system? Well, of course you could. It's just, we are going to design it to work more intuitive and easy with ours, and so everything loaded in through the speaker preset is of course ours, and because we want to be more of that ecosystem part of the solution.
Okay, all right, Katie.
Excellent. All right, Andy asks, are there going to be any kind of installer certification requirements?
Oh, the good question. Do you guys have a certification for Atmosphere?
So from day one, the whole initiative of Atmosphere was to make it as simple to install as possible. It's not very difficult to program. I could probably do it, right? We really put a lot of time and effort into it, and Tom's team spent, literally a year making sure this thing was as easy to install as possible. So there'll be a lot of additional resources. And our training is changing. As the two, Atlas and ID, come together more and more, we're putting a lot of focus on new training initiatives. A lot of online training, obviously, in courses because of the times we live in now. But as far as you have to get certified before you can buy one, that's not in the plan.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just add that there's going to be a lot of online support material and overviews of what happens on each tab and that kind of thing, so that a dealer can go through and see that information. But it was designed to be so intuitive that once they see that a couple of times, they shouldn't have to spend a lot of time in training. That was really the goal.
Well, I'll add onto that another question. You're talking about the install side, but what about on the design side, the AV engineers that are trying to put these into systems? Any sort of training or certifications for those?
So we'll have a standard design or standard specification documentation. Our ESS team, our design team, our in-house design team will be glad to incorporate Atmosphere or do Atmosphere designs for anyone. And if we've got people that feel like they need to be trained on it, then absolutely we can arrange personal instruction for them. And again, there'll be stuff online of how to lay out a system, and we're doing schematics for different verticals and common applications. But we've got a lot of incredibly talented channel partners out there who, once they get their hands on this, they're going to just take it and go run, which is what it was intended to be all along.
And I think a lot of the questions will get answered in the audio demo room. It's a really good experience. We went through it a couple times. So once you walk through the software, like this is how you start a job all the way to, okay, you're done, it becomes really evident how easy it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get that here in a few minutes. Katie, another question?
Absolutely. Aaron Schoaf asks, what IT security considerations were taken into account, as in, can you turn off Wi-Fi?
It's baked into the network security. Can you come up,
Yeah,
Tom?
Tom,
Sorry.
we got a question. Sorry.
So we're bringing
Bear
Tom.
with us 1 second.
Tom Lurman, the head of product management, who has carried this baby for 2.5 years. So.
Oh
Tom,
my gosh, he's coming on stage.
Come on up, buddy. Good job.
Yeah, welcome, Tom.
The hero,
My job
the
is
hero
done,
of the day. So.
What IT security considerations were taken into account? As in, can you turn off Wi-Fi?
Yes, you can turn off Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is off by default.
Somebody has to mic him.
Wi-Fi is off by default, but it can be turned on via the front panel or the user interface.
All right.
Okay. That was, Tom, hang where you are. Aaron, was there any other follow-up question to that while we've got Tom on stage? If so, type it into the QA here real quick, if you would. If not, we will let Tom run away.
No, we're keeping Tom up there.
All right, just remember that he's got your mic. So if you go one direction, he goes the other. It's going to be really entertaining for us. All right, good. Aaron says he's good to go, so we'll roll on to the next question. Tom, thanks for coming on up. Honestly, guys, that was the last of our questions that have come in from the audience.
Perfect.
So let's do
Great.
one more call.
Thank you to
All right.
everyone.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you guys
Tim.
for hanging out.
Absolutely,
Good job.
man. This is
coming
awesome.
to
Great to be in a
St.
theater
Louis,
again.
and, yeah,
Great,
appreciate it.
great to have a reason to dress up and not
Reason
wear.
to dress
yeah.
up, and John put pants on, so that's all.
Yeah.
It's true.
Big day.
Just for you. And Atlas socks.
And
so.
Big day, man.
Oh, look at that.
All right. So, if you are interested in experiencing the demo room that they've been talking about, we're going to get that straight from Elkhart, Indiana. So we all thank you so very much. If you don't have time today, you can always go register for the next 3 days for those demo rooms. AtlasIED.com. AtlasIED.com. John Ivey, Mr. Michael Peveler. I'm Tim Albright. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone.